Welcome everyone to this reading part 1 email correspondence analysis. Before we start, I want to let you know that I am going to be following the tips and strategies from our reading part 1 guide. We can find that guide in the CELPIP library reading part 1. And this video gives you a more in-depth structure of how you should approach doing reading part 1. So if you need more information, you can look at that video. And the video, it gives us information about how to manage our time effectively. If you want to read these pages, please pause the video. How to read the text and what information we should focus on. What information to focus on. How we should answer the questions 1 to 6. What are some good things to focus on? How we can select the answers. What's a good method? And how we should answer the response email, questions 7 to 11. Okay, so now let's get started. Okay, everyone, I'm here in the CELPIP library in reading part 1, and I'm going to be doing an analysis from volume 3 called Radio. Okay? So let's remember that when I do the analysis, I'm going to be completing it in 11 minutes. I want to do this because I want to show you how I'm reading, how I'm understanding information, and then how I'm reading the answers, how I'm understanding them, and this will help us build comprehensive skills. So I will finish in 11 minutes and then I'll make some comments in the end. And also, I'm going to be blowing up the reading section so you can see it more clearly. Okay, so now let's get started. Hi, Andy. I listen to you every week on CBC National Public Radio. It's great to hear your selection of music recordings from the 1950s to the 1980s. I like it even more when you play the songs you recorded as a guitarist with your rock group, the Isotopes, back in the 1960s and 1970s. So, Rhonda is writing Andy, and she listens to the radio show. Okay, she liked his music before. So Andy had a band. I wish the Isotopes would get back together. I remember when your band played in Brandon, Manitoba. In fact, I still have the diary in which I wrote about the show. It was December 4th, 1972, before you became famous across North America in the 1980s. We were the young adults screaming and whistling in the front row. Okay, so looks like Andy had a band before. It was called the Isotopes, and Rhonda was a big fan. Interesting. Let's look at the questions. What is Andy's current job? Well, I think he's a radio host, right? Radio show host. Now, not the director, because the director is the one that plans the show, not a musician anymore, and doesn't record the show. He's the host. She listens to him. When did Rhonda see Andy in person? 50s, 1960s, 1970s, 1980s? Well, it says here in 1972, before you became famous. Okay, so 1970s. In which paragraph does Rhonda say why she emailed? Definitely not paragraph 1, so not that one yet. What did Rhonda mostly want to tell Andy? It's not clear yet, but let's read it. A correction, a suggestion, a complaint, her memories. Maybe her memories now because um, she's thinking about him, but it's not clear. We'll check after. What would Rhonda like to hear? We don't know yet what she wants to hear or would like to hear. What is true of all singers mentioned? We didn't mention them all. Let's go to the second paragraph. I loved your recent shows, especially the one on December 14th featuring songs with catchy piano solos. Catchy. It's very easy to remember it when something's catchy. I also liked the recent January 11th show featuring songs about world travel. So some show about world travel she listened to. Because of this year being a leap year, there was also last week's February 29th episode, so she listened to another one. It featured or showed songs that were at first considered too long by their producers who had tried unsuccessfully to make the artist shorten them. Okay. So it's talking about the shows. I like how you invite listeners to email you their ideas for future show topics. So Andy invites people to send messages, I guess. I didn't see any of these questions here. Not why she emailed either, but it's sounding more like memories here. But let's continue reading. I wonder if you would consider creating an episode about singers who didn't want to sing. Noreen Coolidge comes to mind. So she's telling him, maybe you could consider doing this show. Okay. She was famous for and enjoyed using her beautiful voice, and yet her lifelong wish was to be a drummer instead. Okay, so she enjoyed her voice, but she wanted to be a drummer. Okay. You could also include the fantastic Eileen Parker. One of the greatest jazz singers of all time. She wanted only to be a dancer, so she wanted to be a dancer. So she was a singer, jazz singer, but she wanted to be a dancer. Another example is Alton Simmer, a young man set on becoming an architect, so he was going to be an architect until his girlfriend pushed him back to become a singer, even though he didn't want to. Perhaps you could call this episode The Reluctance. Okay, so she's telling him he invited listeners to write him to tell him about shows. And then she's telling him the kind of show that he would like. So number 3 sounds like paragraph 3, okay? Because that's why she's writing. What did Rhonda mostly want to? I think the main thing is about the show that she is suggesting or saying it's a good one for her. Okay. And what would Rhonda like to hear on the radio soon? Songs recorded by unwilling singers or singers who didn't want to be. Unwilling means didn't want to do so or don't want to do something. Songs with a world travel? No. Songs that are longer? No. Songs with interesting piano solos? No. Looks like A. It mentions here that all these singers, they wanted to do something else. What is true of all the singers mentioned? Singing was their second career. Singing was not fun. No. They were better at something else. They wanted a different job. I think it's they wanted a different job because one of them wanted to be an architect, another one wanted to be a drummer, but not their second career. One of them says here was a singer. She was a singer, but she wanted to be a dancer, so she wanted a different job. Let's read the last part because it might help us in the second paragraph. By the way, on last year's March 30th show, you mentioned that pianist Arno DeLuca won the reality TV show The Rockinators in 2020. Trust me, I've watched every show DeLuca won in 2014. The 2020 winner was violinist Arno Beswick. I still love your show. Keep up the good work. Sincerely, Rana Pobans. Okay, so looks like we got everything here, and we got still 3 minutes, which is a good time to switch over to the second part. To Rhonda, your email received on, when was that email received? December, January, February, March. 1972. I saw the episode December 14th, then January 11th. There was also last week's February 29th episode. That was the last one that she talked about, so it has to be March. March is the one here. Hi, Rhonda. So you were one of those young people I saw 801 at the one and only Isotopes concert in Brandon, Manitoba. So he's talking about when he saw them in 1972 or when she saw him. Okay. Dancing to the music, jumping up and down, making loud noises, waving your arms. I remember it's making loud noises because screaming and whistling. Screaming and whistling means making loud noises, okay? It's interesting to find out that at least one of my fans from past years is nowadays a fan of Nine. So one of my fans from before is nowadays a fan of what? The Rocking Natives on television. She mentioned that not live concerts by the Ancients, The Reluctance. Definitely not C because that's the show she recommended and not on TV. And also not D because this band was his band that doesn't play anymore. So A or B, and I remember in the last paragraph, through the Inchworms, you mentioned that pianist won the reality TV show The Rock. I've watched every show of the Rockinators. Okay. So it was the Rockinators on television. Okay. Thanks a lot for your message, Rhonda. I'll be bringing it up at my next meeting with my. So he's going to be suggesting the show that Rhonda suggested. With who? Band members? No. Concert organizers? He doesn't do a concert. Recording engineers? Not the technical side. Show producers? Because he is part of that show. Okay. And we have some great shows coming up. Best Andy, I gather from the clues in your email that, like me, you will keep rocking. Have traveled the world. She didn't say about traveling. We're born in the 50s, maybe, because she listened to him sing. Rather, she doesn't sing, play guitar passion. She doesn't play the guitar. So it's we're born in the 50s because they were in the same time where she watched him. How much time do I have? I still have 50 seconds. Maybe I was doing that a little bit too fast. But I will say that here. So he's saying, I guess that we were both born in the 50s because she listened to him in the 70s. And maybe they were about the same age. Usually it's your generation of people that you like their music more. So that's what he's talking about there. Okay, so looks like we got everything here. I believe we have all the correct answers. So we can go ahead and check. Okay, perfect. So everyone, it's a very good idea to understand why the answers are the answers and why the other answers are not the answers, okay? And that was a good example for us. And we have version B here. So it's the same reading for you to review this reading, okay? You can review it and you can try to answer the questions, okay? And answer the questions in 11 minutes. Now, I will be leaving a link in the description box for you to practice. Let's remember, practice makes perfect. I would like to remind you that if you're looking for some more listening, reading, writing, or speaking CELPIP exam practice, then you should definitely subscribe to our CELPIP library. The CELPIP library has hundreds of examples of listening, reading, writing, and speaking, which will help you develop your score, whatever the score you need. Also, the library contains vocabulary, listening skills, reading skills, grammar, and writing skills exercises, which will really help you improve your general understanding of English and also for the exam. So, and you can purchase a 1 month pass or a 2 month or a 3 month subscription for a very low price. And of course, if you really enjoyed this content, then please like this video, share it, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way we will keep on producing more CELPIP analysis for your development. Have a great day.